You should be all set to get started.
Amazing. Thank you so much. And yeah, thank you to everybody who is here having joined today. This is my cat Pie. He is also joining us here today. And to those of you who are watching the recording, appreciate you taking the time to learn a little bit more about the Insight Timer resource that you all have available to you. So what I've had up on the screen for the past couple of minutes, this QR code, if you scan that with the camera on your smartphone, if you haven't already done so, it will bring you to download the Insight Timer app, and then it will also prompt you to make sure that you have joined the Southern New Hampshire University Workplace on Insight Timer. That is the important step you'll want to make sure that you complete, because that's what's going to unlock your access to all of the premium content on the Insight Timer app. So I'm going to take us through a quick overview, just give you a sense of the variety of tools and resources on the app, and then I will share my phone screen with you. I'll take you through a bit of a tour of an Insight Timer, walk you through how to make sure you know you've joined the workplace, how to set your preferences, filters, and then how to find things ranging from live yoga classes to courses on topics that might be of interest, and a whole variety of things. So starting off with meditation. So Insight Timer was originally just a meditation timer when it first came onto the App Store in 2009, and we have since expanded and grown quite a bit. So Insight Timer is the home to over 10,000 teachers from countries all around the world. And these are people who have backgrounds being clinical psychologists, neuroscientists, and then we have people in the field of mindful leadership. We have Buddhist monks, people from different spiritual, religious backgrounds, really a very, very diverse space, designed intentionally so that each unique individual can come on to Insight Timer and find teachers and practices that are relevant and of interest with your background, belief system, worldview, the way that you think and process information. And so with that, we have over 180,000 pieces of content that range from guided meditation to music, talks, and you can find these resources spanning from being about 1 minute in length for very short practices to hours-long content that can be helpful to help get you to fall asleep at night, get you to stay asleep. And on that note, our sleep section of Insight Timer is one of the most popular areas on our app, as so many people struggle to get good quality sleep each night, and sleep is very, very integral to your overall well-being. If you've ever had a period of not having great sleep, I'm sure you know the impact that it can have on your mood, your focus, all parts of your physical and mental well-being. And so we aim to provide a wide range of tools to help you ensure that you're getting to sleep and staying asleep. So whether you're interested in sleep music, nature sounds, ambient music, or you're interested in a yoga nidra guided meditation, which is one in which it's designed to get you into a deep state of rest. Or if you all have kids at home, we have really great bedtime stories and guided mindfulness practices specifically for children. We also have a whole section of Insight Timer dedicated to breath work. So breath work is going to be practices where you're guided through shifting the way that you're breathing. So sometimes this is inhaling through your nostrils, exhaling through your mouth for different periods of time, sometimes holding your breath at moments. And these are practices that have been studied and researched that really help shift how you're feeling internally. So they can be effective for increasing focus and energy if you're feeling kind of that afternoon slump, or they can be very effective in helping you slow down, down-regulate your nervous system if you're in a moment of overwhelm or panic. Definitely encourage checking out those practices if you are new to breath work, and even if you have a deep breath work practice, you can really find some great teachers who are experts on the topic. And then we have live yoga. So we have live events that happen on Insight Timer, hundreds of them every week. And a whole section of those are yoga classes that are taught from teachers all around the world. And they span all different traditions, styles of yoga, and levels of experience and expertise. So even if you're totally new to yoga, never done a yoga class in your life, you can find really great chair or desk yoga that can be good for stretching during the workday, Or if you're quite an advanced student of yoga, you can also find some practices that will sure to challenge you on Insight Timer as well. And then we have these contemplation tools on the app. So we have our daily quote that you'll see when you open up Insight Timer each day. We have a journal where you can use that to keep a daily gratitude list or just share reflections after you've completed a meditation. And then we also have this mood check-in. So this is a really great tool to help you just pause and take a moment to see how you are doing, to really be honest with yourself. It builds the skill of self-awareness, tuning into how you're feeling. You report how you're doing, and then based off of that response, you're provided with personalized recommendations of content from the app that is relevant to how you're feeling and doing in that moment. So I'm going to pull down these slides now and share my phone screen and start taking us through the tour of the Insight Timer app. So let me go ahead and bring that up. And if anybody has questions, please feel free to put them into the chat. We also will have about 5 minutes or so at the end of today's meeting for any additional questions. Okay, so what we are seeing now is the home screen of Insight Timer. So after you've downloaded the app for the first time, created your account, signed in, we encourage you to sign up with your work email address. It makes for the most efficient onboarding process. However, if you already happen to have a personal Insight Timer account, or if you simply prefer to have your account through a personal email address or something like your Apple ID, that is completely fine as well. The one thing that you'll just need to make sure where you will use your work email address is joining the workplace section. So that should be the very first thing that you do upon signing up. You likely will be prompted to do so, especially if you've clicked an invite link or signed up with your work email address. But just in case, you will want to make sure that you first click this workplace button. You should see it featured at the top of your screen. If for whatever reason you have different presets already on your app and you don't see workplace there, simply click that more button. And then you'll see all of these different options come up where they can be shortcuts on your app. And you can personalize those. And I encourage you to move workplace to being one of those initial shortcuts. And so then going into the workplace, you'll want to click that workplace button and you'll see I'm already logged in, a member of my workplace Insight Timer. But what you'll first see before you've joined the workplace is a page that'll say wellbeing at work, get started. That's where you'll complete the one-time verification of your work email address to verify that you are an employee of SNHU. And doing so will gain you access to the Southern New Hampshire University workplace on the app, as well as provide you access to these workplace-specific resources. And importantly, unlock your access to the premium paid content that normally is behind a paywall for the individual. There in the plus section, you see it along the bottom middle of the screen, and we'll get to that in just a moment. All of that content you have made available to you for free by SNHU. Here on this My Day page is where you see elements of the workday, so elements of the workday routine. If, for example, you are looking to take a quick break, maybe you're feeling stressed or not able to focus, you could do quick breaks or get into focus. And then you'll quickly be given a number of recommendations, which you also can use these filters up at the top to say, perhaps you only have 5 minutes or less on hand right then. Set that filter and quickly find a practice, for example, maybe a 4-minute stretch relaxation practice is what you need to take a quick break amidst the workday. Within the workplace, you'll also see this library tab. This is a space where you can share content with your colleagues. So you simply click that make a recommendation button. And if, for example, you found a practice that really benefited you or you simply just want to share, you can do so here, as well as see recommendations that maybe your colleagues have shared in this space. Scrolling down on the library, you'll also find the workplace skills. These are going to be pieces of content that address common workplace situations. So improving focus, for example. And you'll find that each of these elements has a theory section where you can learn directly from a researcher who studied this topic and do a guided practice to kind of walk you through how to put what you're learning into action. Going to come back to the home screen of the app now, and we've covered how to make sure you've joined the workplace, the tools that you can find in that space. I'm going to direct your attention to the profile button. It's going to be in the top right corner of the screen. I'm going to click on that. And then here is where, for example, you could edit your profile. If you click My Profile, it's also where you'll find the Workplace button located as well. I'm going to click on the Settings icon in the top right corner of the screen. And here's where you get to set up all of your preferences and really personalize your experience on the app. So do you want a daily reminder to meditate or start your wind down routine if you're going to use the Insight Timer for sleep? Set options around notifications and privacy. And then under preferences, you'll see there are content filters. As I've mentioned, Insight Timer is a very diverse space as it comes to well-being, because we know that well-being is a deeply personal, nuanced thing for each individual. But if there's an area of content that is simply not of interest to you, all you need to do is toggle that off or put it back on, and that will filter through all of the content that you'll see and interact with on the app so that you're really having a customized experience to your interests and preferences. Similarly, we have content in 45 languages from our teachers all around the world, and you can set those language filters here in your settings as well. Coming back onto the home screen, you'll see the daily featured quote, featured content of the day. And then I already completed my mood check-in earlier today, but I'm going to come back to my profile to show you how that works. So I'm going to click on mood check-in, and I can report feeling great. And maybe that's because of food, maybe friends, exercise. I can report also perhaps feeling grateful or relaxed. And I could write a journal entry if I wanted to, or I could simply click complete check-in. And what that will do is then provide me with those recommendations based on how I have reported feeling. So you can find a range of them. They'll give you kind of a broad spectrum of options to choose from, different teachers, different lengths of practices, and you can then track your mood analysis and mood influencers over the weeks. Along the bottom then, so you'll see we're on the home page now. I'm going to come on to the library, second from the left. This is where content that you bookmark, courses that you begin, where you can access the timer, all of those elements will be. So the timer here, you can play around with different bell sounds, different intervals if you do want an unguided practice. Or I even sometimes will use the timer function when I just need 1 to 2 minutes to pause in between tasks during the workday. Sometimes we get very busy and just in the flow of jumping from thing to thing, and sometimes I just need to set a brief timer, maybe put some ambient music in the background, and that really can function well as just a nice pause during the day. On the library page, you'll see the edit button in the top right corner. You can use that to customize what you see featured on your library. So maybe you just want to see the live events and timer featured. That can be customized again to your preferences. Coming then to the Plus page on the app. So you'll see Member Plus up at the top. This is all of that premium content that you have made available to you. And just seeing what's featured. So the premium collections, these are going to be spaces where you can learn information and kind of gain different insights into a certain topic. So for example, if any of you might happen to be exhausted parents and you're looking to increase energy or manage your energy better, you can learn about that here. And then when you're learning through the content, you'll also be provided with content recommendations relevant to that content area. And scrolling down, you can see a featured premium meditation for the day, featured courses on the topic of wellness. You can scroll through, just see what catches your attention. Or if you scroll all the way back up to the top, you can set these filters. And so, for example, maybe you are looking for a course on the topic of happiness. Set that filter. Maybe you're looking for a course in the range of 6 to 10 days. Maybe you actually want 11 to 20 days, a slightly longer course. Totally up to you. You move through this content at your own pace. Scroll down to see what sort of courses might be available to you. And when you find one that maybe catches your attention, let's say perhaps a course on, let's see, something on self-love. You can click on that to learn more, and then you'll scroll up and this About section will give a really nice quick overview. See, this one's an 11-day course, just about 15 minutes a day. Nearly 8,000 people have taken it. Out of 5 stars, it has a rating of 5 stars. So you'll see all the content on Insight Timer has rating and reviews available for you to see. So you can see what other people in the Insight Timer community, how they've responded to these pieces of content. If it seems of interest to you, all you need to do is push play lesson 1, and then you can move through that course at your own pace. The next page is the Explore page. This gives a really great overview of all things Insight Timer. The beginner section is for those new to meditation, those new to Insight Timer. There are these really great kits where you can learn, kind of do a deep dive into managing stress, improving sleep. We have a really great mindful eating section. And then you can see the content broken down between meditation, there are the breath work, sleep and music sections, courses. And then if I click live events, I can see the events happening right this moment from teachers all around the world. There are these ones in the pink circles here. And for the live events, you'll never be interrupting if you just want to click in and join in, see what's happening in those events, because the teacher is the only one on video and audio. There's an ongoing chat where you can pose questions to the teacher, interact with the other people in that live event. But it's a really great way to find new teachers, learn about new topics. If you're not sure where to begin on Insight Timer, just jumping into a few live events and you never know what you might find. There are great live guided meditations that go on, really great music. We have some really talented musicians on Insight Timer, as well as then live yoga classes. So perhaps you are just looking for a yoga class. You could set that filter. And so now I'm going to just see yoga classes, and I could choose to see ones that are just happening tomorrow. So set those filters, scroll down through all of the different options of the different yoga classes. And when you see one that is occurring at a time that works for you, seems like a teacher, a style of yoga that you might be of interest, you simply can click on it to learn more. So maybe you are interested in a slow flow. That sounds nice. Click on it, read a little bit more about it. If you're interested, you can click Attend Event, and then you'll add it to your calendar. Make sure that you remember to go when it begins. You'll also receive a notification if you have your notification reminders turned on shortly before the live event begins. And then back on the Explore page, just bringing your attention to the search bar up at the top. This is another great place to begin. Because there is so much content on Insight Timer, sometimes it can feel a little overwhelming or unsure of where to start. But if you come on and you know that there's a certain skill that you're wanting to build or an emotion that you're feeling in that moment, maybe it's as simple as you are feeling a little bit of stress during the workday. Just type in that one word. You'll see these topic pages appear where you can do a deep dive into that topic. You can find all of the tracks. So these are going to be guided meditations, music, and talks. Again, encourage you to use these filters up at the top. So I could sort by, maybe I want to see the shortest practice. And maybe I want to also make sure that there is music in the background. Quickly, you can narrow down your results to really find options specific to what you're seeking. You can also find courses on that topic, any live events coming up that speak to the topic of stress, and then playlists are going to be collections of content across the Insight Timer app. And lastly, the Connect tab is where you see our world map of meditators all across the planet. And here are the groups. So these are groups that are open to anybody on Insight Timer. And there's a space where you can interact with that global community if you wish to do so. For example, our daily gratitude group has over 87,000 members, and it is simply a place where people share recommendations on that topic related to gratitude and just share things that they're grateful for every day. So it's a really an uplifting space if you ever want to interact with those communities. But I will bring us back to the home screen now and open it up for any questions that you all have, whether you want to put your question in the chat or unmute yourself, and happy to address those questions.